Something's happening. Oh, is it working? I think maybe it's on.
It's because it needed to start the show to have his glorious entry.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's weird because I can see it on the YouTube over here, but like I'm looking at the live stream, I don't see any picture.
Yeah, it was saying it was. I got a response. And somebody said it was glitching out.
Ooh, fun. Okay. All right. Maybe let me.
And I sent the link to it.
Let's see. I mean, I see it. Like I see it, like we're on, but I don't see it on my phone. Like the stream, anyways. Like it's weird looking.
Oh,
Is it on?
I think that's it.
Do you see it?
Yeah, I think that's it. That's it. We're on.
Oh, we're on. Okay. Hey, we're on. Hey.
All right, guys. We got this thing running now.
All right.
All thanks to yours truly.
We hired him back. We hired him back.
I guess,
It was the right call.
I don't know, man.
Come on.
I guess just because Jay's saying, I trust him. I trust him. He's a Marine.
He's a very trustworthy.
He's got that face.
Seeming guy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I do.
All right.
That's what you do. That's good. So,
welcome to the SF Files. This is our first stream ever. We are going to be horrible, but we will be entertaining, hopefully.
Hopefully.
And, hopefully. Yeah. Well, today we are going to talk, Brother Guns. What's our topic today? What we got?
So today's topic is the guns range. I am your host, yours truly, Guns. As my co-host, we have the foulest mouth of the South, BogusBird.
Hey.
And
Rehire.
my other co-host, we have the human gas gasket, Agent K. And as a new challenger, we have Jay on the scene.
Welcome to the show,
What up,
Jay.
guys?
All
All
right.
right,
So what are you
Jay.
doing?
Going on.
What are you doing?
So, quick thing, I guess.
Uh-huh.
He is a very special guest. He is someone that we met through the comments. Jay, how long have you been listening?
About 10
I
minutes.
know, right? It's like I'm like one of those people, right? That's like, okay, I'm scrolling through TikTok and the lives come up, and like 9 times out of 10, you like just scroll right through those things. You don't care.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it was just like one off comment when you guys were talking. I saw Cell and Android 13, and I'm like, no shot, no shot. I'm not letting this go.
Man.
Oh yeah. But yeah,
All right,
And it was all downhill from there.
including that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. he went
Blame
on
the
a
tech
deep dive. All of our videos. I think he's caught up to date. He
Absolutely.
said he's our biggest fan right now.
Biggest, yeah.
Biggest
Oh, yeah.
fan. Yeah, so much so he said he wanted to join the bromance. He wanted to join the live stream. Argue about how Cell would tear apart Android 13 with one hand tied
Bullshit.
behind his back.
Bullshit.
He would, though.
He would.
No.
Wow.
'Cause
No.
this is
Let me. No. We're gonna. No, we're not doing that again, Guns. We're not doing that again.
Stop.
Dude, you just open Pandora's box, man. This is like a decade-old question argument that we've been having, dude.
We will revisit that because today.
Next time, I'm gonna have Anarm. I'm gonna have Anarm on my corner because he knows the real DBZ.
Right,
He's a true
right.
fan. He's a true fan. Unlike you
No.
guys.
Sorry, homeboy.
So who do we really have today?
So today's on the first episode, we have Wolverine from X-Men versus Dante from Devil May Cry.
All right.
All right.
And fight. Who wins it? Who got it?
All right.
I'm being straight out. It's Dante for me.
Dante. Okay.
It's Dante.
Oh,
It's
okay.
Dante.
Look,
It
I'm
is.
I'm
Well,
honestly Oh, go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
No, I was just gonna say, well, because right, like, okay, so I'll be honest. My knowledge of Devil May Cry is not nearly as much as my knowledge of Wolverine, right? Because I'm
Sure.
a big Marvel fan too, right?
Okay.
But with that being said, I have a lot more knowledge about Wolverine, and I still take Dante because even Wolverine's
Wow.
strongest forms. Because think about it, right? Okay, Wolverine's not, he's not, you know what I mean? He's not. But at the same time, his strongest form was like I think Phoenix Force, Wolverine. So even if you take all their forms, like not even just their base, right? Wolverine's strongest isn't enough to match with Dante's. I mean, in 5, I think he gets like another. What's the triggers, right?
The Sin Devil trigger, yeah. He gets Sin Devil
Right.
trigger.
He gets another one, and it's like I don't think he's stepping up to that. I don't.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
he will, but he might lose.
Yeah. Okay.
Man. Okay.
See, I'm a little bit more knowledgeable on Dante over Wolverine, and with that, I was thinking with Wolverine's healing factor, he might wear him down. Like, don't get me wrong. I know Dante doesn't take damage. Like, he'll take damage, but he's not too phased by it. But he can technically die.
Right.
As opposed to Wolverine, he can die. He grew out of a drop of blood at one point, I think.
Yep.
Wait, was that Wolverine
Okay,
or was
so
that
you're-
Deadpool? I think that was
Wolverine.
Deadpool.
No,
Wolverine
Well, they share the same.
healing factor.
Yeah.
You know what I
same.
mean? They're kind of one and the same, unless you're counting the fact that Deadpool got cursed by Thanos.
Yeah.
But that's still kind of irrelevant because he still had the healing factor anyway. You know what I mean? Before Thanos did what he did.
Yeah.
But so your argument is that his capability to die.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Like,
Okay.
if it wasn't for that, 100% Dante. Dante takes the cake. He fights, the kings, the 2 kings of the underworld, of the demon world, and he takes them out. Man,
Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah. You know what? It seems obvious at first, but I think the more you think about it, if you power scale Wolverine, let's say, if he can fight, let's say, World War Hulk, who is supposed to be capable of like hitting Galactus kind of strength feats, or fighting like a Rune King Thor and all that stuff. He's supposed to be at not like a god tier level, but the vibe of he's supposed to be up there, and he
Yeah.
can fight that. You can kind of power scale him pretty high in terms of strength.
yeah.
But I still think Dante takes speed because your average enemy, right, that you fight in the game, they're stated to be capable of like jumping in and out. They use like the demonic energy to like literally like time warp for a sense, and he
Yeah.
can still react to it.
Yeah.
So it's like it kind of, because it's like, yeah, you could be like Ultimate Promise, you can be as strong as you want, but if you can't hit your target, how good is that gonna be for you?
Right. Yeah, and that's where the argument comes, I think, is, Dante, he's capable of taking these creatures that are, out of this world, literally. They're supposed to be the strongest in their realms. He's, light speed fast. He's got the strength too. Like, he's powerful, They cut dimensions. And Wolverine got, he's cool. He's an ass. And he got healing factor, But
So-
can like the demon metals, like say for example, Dante's Sword Rebellion or the Sparta, can those cut adamantium?
So those are the 3 things I was basing this fight on. Really, for me personally,
Same.
Wolverine's healing factor versus Dante's healing factor. Their durability, basically Wolverine's adamantium, and basically Dante, well, he's like half human, half demon.
Right.
and basically the enemies they fight, mainly the bosses. Because me personally, I've only played through the one with Nero. I haven't played part 5.
Okay.
So I was basing it off of Mundus part 2 and part 3 and the Nero one, right?
Okay.
And then the first guy I thought of was the Hulk. How Wolverine's fought him, he's beaten him on some occasions, and Wolverine's always fighting top tier beasts like that,
Right.
you know. And then you also got to take into consideration Wolverine's heightened senses,
Yep.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the demons warping in and out might catch him off guard at first, but I feel he's gonna catch on to it real quick.
Yeah, I think he would adapt to it as well, because yeah, his sense of smell for starters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's gonna catch him eventually. He's gonna catch him.
Right.
He's gonna adapt to it. He's very quick. Like he's quick to adapting, right? Like he's gonna, like you said, he's gonna catch on. He's gonna eventually catch up to like, well, he's coming from this side. He's coming from that side. Whatever, right? Like he's gonna
He's
know
gonna
what's
learn a
up.
pattern.
Once he learns that, and he's got the durability, not just the healing, but with his durability and his relentlessness, dude, he's going to catch him. I
Yeah.
don't care how fast Dante is. Wolverine will catch him.
And one thing I also tried to put in my mind was his Berserker Rage versus Dante's Double Trigger.
I mean, so
I think the
with that,
choice- I think, sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I think his Devil Trigger is gonna be a lot more of a problem than the Berserker Rage, because like, you see, the Berserker Rage is, I mean, the key to why it's a problem is in the title, right? It's just a blind Berserk Rage versus Dante's, his triggers being like, no, I'm in control of this, and like my mere presence is going to humble you. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of, so it's a problem, but that would be like if he can control it. Like, yeah, Broly is strong and all this stuff, and it's like, yeah, but if he could control it, which he can't, it's like that same berserk issue that a lot of characters have, and like Wolverine suffers from that same kind of weakness that a lot of them do.
Right.
But that's more if it's personally. I think that's if there's more opponents in the field or like his teammates or whatever. But if it's on one, he can focus that berserk on Dante alone. He's like the only guy out there,
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but like he's kind of just going to be like hacking and slashing as opposed to Dante where he could still be methodical. And then with Devil Trigger active, like it takes him to like an entirely different level. And then like not to mention like Sin Devil Trigger, which will even take him even another step further. You know? Like
But that's only if he can get through his adamantium, though. If
Yeah.
he can't even penetrate the adamantium, it's already a done deal.
But okay, and so I was thinking, I had brought that up, but like I said, they cut dimensions. They can literally cut things like through dimensions. I feel
like they could because if they're capable of doing something much more difficult, I mean, by default, I would feel at least reasonably they would be able to do that as well. Plus, also, I kind of just had a thought in my head: is this a fight to the death, right?
Okay.
Or is it a fight to the win? Like, meaning, like, so for example, people have beaten Wolverine before in a fight, right? Like consistently, right? But has he died from it? No, he just wakes up like hours or days later, right? But like the fight was won. He just didn't kill him,
Okay.
right? Like the Hulk is capable of beating Wolverine, like at least versions of Hulk, right? But then at the same time, Wolverine's still here.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's not, so the whole argument of like, well, he can die. It's like, sure, but you'll go down in a fight a lot sooner before you die.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Because we were talking strictly to the death, and so another thought of mine was like, say for example, guns. One Piece. law can take off your head, right?
Mhm.
And that can basically almost end the fight. What's to stop Dante from grabbing the Yamato, cutting the dimension at his head, basically making his head plop off, and just calling it a win.
Healing factor.
But
He's just
instead-
proud of your
yeah.
head, dude.
Yeah, no, and I get that, but I'm saying like he wouldn't necessarily have to cut through adamantium if he can cut the dimension right there and like split his head for a split second.
Okay,
Do you see what I'm saying?
But do you think because I'm actually not even sure about this. So you say that he cuts dimensions. Okay, like we've seen it. We've played the games. We've seen it. It happens. Yes.
Right.
But is that? Would you say that's more like an ability, or because I mean it? I would think that it's something different. Like this is an ability that this sword can do, cut
Right.
through dimensions. Not necessarily.
I think it's a
cut
presence
through-
of power.
Right, yeah, like power, but I don't because the way I'm thinking is, I think you're thinking along the same lines, guns. If he slashes at him, I mean that's adamantium. I don't necessarily think he's gonna cut through, even with that ability, because that's an ability that he's not cutting through a dimension. He's trying to cut through the adamantium.
Right.
I don't know, I kind of think they're separate.
Okay.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I think a better way to word it then, right, would be not so much that the ability is to cut through dimensions, right, is that he is so strong that he has the ability to cut through a dimension.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, if I swing my sword, right, it's not that the sword's ability is to, like, destroy what's in front of me, right? It's that I'm so strong that when I swing the sword, everything in front of me is getting destroyed.
All right.
Right? That's what I would argue to that. Plus, like, that's a power of like they use this a lot in fiction. Literally, is like a power of like presence. Like they got like the spiritual pressure in Bleach.
Yeah.
They got Ki in Dragon Ball, right? And like, for example, when Jiren shows up, the entire void was shaking, and everybody's like, "What's going on?" He didn't even do anything. He was just standing there,
Right.
right? Because there's a certain thing about presence that characters feel when they encounter someone, which I feel like is gonna actually really work against Wolverine, since like his whole sense of smell and all of his senses, right? That's gonna hit him hard. Like, whoa, especially at that level.
Yeah, that's a really solid point too, because like it's kind of been shown that like when he's in front of an enemy that he knows is powerful, he's like, oh shit, this guy's strong, so he's definitely gonna feel that with Dante.
Yeah, but he still, he wouldn't back down, dude. He doesn't back down from a fight really at all.
No,
he
doesn't.
won't back
doesn't.
down.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's trying to be like what you said, like, oh shit, But he's still like, let's get down. I think it'll just be the initial start, but once they start fighting, I think he's just gonna forget about it until maybe he double triggers.
What were you saying?
Right. Well, no. I mean, I wasn't trying to cut you off. I'm sorry. The devil triggers, like they would kind of be going a little back and forth, because he'd hit one, then Wolverine would kind of have to raise the bar, and they would have to kind of like battle each other out. I think Dante has more steps than Wolverine does in that regard. Like I think Wolverine hits his cap pretty comparatively to Dante soon. You know what I mean? And I think that, that's just what's going to pretty much edge him out. The only negative thing I can say about Dante really is just the fact that he messes around too much.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Right. Like he never fights seriously. And like the only time we've really even seen him fight seriously was when he fought his brother, who's supposed to be relative in power. Right. So you've never seen him just one shot anyone, because he just doesn't care. Like he's more musically inclined than to one shot someone. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah. So Devil May Cry 5, you see this mini boss. I'm not even gonna say it's a full boss. It's a mini boss. He walks into the room, and this thing is teleporting from one area to another area. and he comes and he starts spinning his blade, and Dante gets in close enough, and he's messing around with this thing, basically having the blades from this demon shaving his chin because he's just messing around. And then as soon as this thing goes on the attack, he just quick royal guards it, and he goes and he fucks it up basically. And that's just, it goes to show how confident Dante knows his power limits. And so I'm sure if he were to get into a real fight, like with somebody who's on the prowl for the kill, I'm sure he wouldn't start off by messing around at first, you know? I mean, he probably would, but he'd probably realize quickly, all right, this isn't a joking matter.
Yeah, this isn't the time.
Yeah.
Well, is that enough time for Wolverine to get a sense of what he's into, what he's facing? Because I mean, I guess that would also depend on him. Like, how serious is he going to start the fight? You know, I mean, if he starts strong and Dante's not giving a shit, will that give him a leg up?
Wolverine, you're saying?
Yeah,
Starting seriously, or
Yeah,
I think he does start seriously, because how often do you see Wolverine in a good mood, for lack of a better word? You know,
There you go.
He's,
yeah.
yeah, that's a very good point. But I feel like the fight, you know, where he walks in and he's like mad, and he's angry, and then Dante just kind of laughs it off, like, you know, this guy, he's like very cocky. But then Wolverine gets in a few hits, right? Knocks Dante down. Dante heals, and Dante now realizes, like, all right, wait a minute, like, he's serious, right? And then I think that's where it's like, okay, let's fight, right? I think that's how that starts.
Yeah.
So the only sorry.
Go ahead.
The only problem I see, because I know we spoke about Dante's Wolverine's adamantium being so hard, Dante can potentially not even penetrate, right? If Wolverine were to stab Dante, clearly Dante will heal because he's done it before.
Right.
But if Wolverine were to chop off, let's say, his arm or his hand, is he able to heal that arm instead of like just being a stab?
I don't
Never
think.
happened.
Because
No.
and I'm saying
I would argue. Sorry.
No, you're good. 'Cause I was just only saying that because in the situation you put out, if Dante starts out goofing off like from the beginning, and Wolverine just starts like hard and he's like going for the kill instantly, what's to say he doesn't chop off an arm or something?
I think he underestimates him, because as much as he is serious, Wolverine's also cocky.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
You know what I
That's
mean?
true.
I think he underestimates Dante as like almost like a Deadpool thing, right? How many times do you see Deadpool? Like Deadpool will cut off, or Wolverine will like cut Deadpool, let's say, right? And he'll underestimate the fact that Deadpool could just put his arm back on, let's say, right? And it'll hit him after the fact and go like, oh yeah, and then he'll adjust, right? But that initial, you know, you don't know who you're dealing with yet, vibe doesn't set in for him, you know, until after he stabs him and Dante heals, right? Like until after. And I would argue that he could heal a limb, just because if you see in the game, like when they stab him, they're stabbing him with like massive objects, right? Like putting huge holes in his body, and it closes up, right? So it's like, if he can regrow all his organs and everything, you know, it seems like almost insignificant to just grow an arm back for it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I would argue that he could.
Wouldn't that just be like, I get what you're coming from, but wouldn't that just be like, if you were to get stabbed, everything is still there and everything can still close, right? But if he chops off an arm, that's just falling on the floor.
Okay, but what's to stop him from pulling a Deadpool, just putting the arm back on and letting it heal on the spot?
That's why I kind of brought that up, is that he just picks up the arm, kind of does that glue trick, and he, you know, because it's true, because if he can, it's kind of, just kind of, you know, I'm good.
Yeah, because Deadpool will do that. Like, there's been times where like the Wolverine will cut his arm off, and Deadpool will just be like, "Oh shit, my arm! Let me put it back on," and that goes like that. All right, we're good to go. And he's, you know,
And
that one happened.
We're all thinking about this. Yeah, we're all thinking about the exact same scene where he's sitting there
Yeah.
turning the disc,
Yeah.
trying to line it up, and he's like, "Jeez."
That's not how that goes. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm
could
thinking
picture
of.
that. I could picture that. You know what I mean? So when I
Yeah.
think this might be a little. I mean, I know it's not them, right? But it gives me a very heavy Wolverine Deadpool fight vibe, right?
Yeah.
So it does. It gives me that vibe. Not 100%, right? That like the serious versus cocky and the healing and the right. But the only difference is Dante has the triggers and Dante has. I mean, people scale him at a universal level. Like, I mean, and like arguably, it's a kind of valid point.
Okay.
You know, like some of his feats are like I beat I forgot his name. But the guy that they come from or whatever. Because I told you my knowledge on him was thank you. And like he'll fight people who are at a like a galactic universal level, right? Like he'll fight those people and he's still here. So it's just like, no, I can handle that, you know?
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like even so. So let's say, for example, Dante comes in here, fucking around. You know, he's lollygagging, and Wolverine's coming at him with everything he's got. Like, he is fast enough to react to, you know, quick flashes of light. You know, he's fast enough to be like, oh, that might get my arm. Let me pull it away a little bit. And so let's not forget that over the years, Dante has gained so many different abilities. One of them being basically the time stopping, the Quicksilver. He gets to slow down time almost as if time is stopped. You know, Wolverine gets close enough to doing that, just a quick snap of a finger, and he walks around, punches Wolverine
He
around.
also has a teleporting ability.
Yeah, he does.
One of his abilities, he does a teleport, and he.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, again, you know, you'd have to take it at face value, but like, you can either take that as like Nightcrawler literally teleporting, or you know, Goku kind of teleporting, where he's just traveling that fast that it just appears these, you know. I think he's just traveling that fast. Like he's just moving.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Now, you guys don't think Wolverine might actually already be used to this type of fighting, since all the mutants he's fought, all the other freaking bad guys, all the different sorts of powers they have? Like, it's so many different variety. I'll give you the time stop.
I sold my case because I said Nightcrawler, and as I said Nightcrawler, I was like, damn. I was like,
but the difference is, with all of these mutants, he's only ever fighting one power at a time. He's not used to fighting them all at the same time. So you don't know where he's coming from. You know?
Because then it's like, can Wolverine beat the entire mutant gene? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know about that one.
Yeah. Like, and I get it, you know, like, I get what you're saying. Like, you know, he's used to, you know, superpower, or super strength because of Hulk. He's used to super speed because of, you know, Spider-Man or something. He's used to teleporting because of Nightcrawler. But, you know, put those into one character, and you got one deadly character.
Good point. Right, because you're never facing all that at the same time. Right, if he fights Nightcrawler, he's not fighting somebody that can be strong and all of that too. He's just fighting that one ability. Very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick, what's up, Perdo Man, in the chat? I see we're talking about Wolverine versus Devil May Cry's Dante. What up? I just want to throw it out there. It seems like a wash, man. It's the more and more you guys like. It's like Wolverine started kind of strong. It's like, oh no, he's down here.
so you're saying the Wolverine is not standing a chance?
It doesn't seem that way. I kind of like the moment that you said the second devil trigger. What is it called?
Sin.
Sin. Okay, yes. Once you mentioned that one, it's like, oh no, that's not happening.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
First devil
Exactly
triggers,
right. Because
a maybe, but yeah, it's just too much. It's just too much. I'm even at base form. Dante is. I mean, he's obviously he's formidable. I think that's even then. Dante. It
no,
just seems,
I think he beats him at base. I'll give him that. Like a berserker Wolverine
Mhm.
will beat a base Dante when he's like fucking around, and then he starts to get serious. He'll still beat him, right? He'll start to get a little harder, right? Because he's like, it's like what's the good example? It's like when Hulk fights Red Hulk. Okay, like Red Hulk always starts out much stronger than Hulk, right?
Right.
Because
Right.
Red Hulk's thing is fire, right? Fire is instant. I put a fire right here; it's hot immediately, right? Hulk is a bomb, right? A bomb, it can be right in front of you. Nothing's gonna happen. But once you hit that point, it's over. Like the fight's over, right? So it's like Wolverine is the fire, where he's starting out the gate serious, like, and he'll out the gate. Dante's gonna be like, "What is happening? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on?" Like,
yeah, for sure.
my arm is on the floor. Like, you know what I mean? And then he'll pay attention and go like, "I should probably put this seriously." You know what I mean? I think that's what it's gonna be. Is that once he hits that second state, and he's tearing dimensions, and Wolverine's like, "Bro, I'm I'm out."
Birdo Man says Dante wins.
I was about to say the exact same thing, Proto Man. I think we are on the same page.
Oh man.
All right, so because I haven't played Devil May Cry 5, what are Sin Devil Trigger's abilities? Like, how does he fight?
So he basically has Devil Trigger times like 10, maybe 20, I don't know how much. It elevates him to like an entirely different level of Devil Trigger. If you want, you can have like little homing missiles as you attack. You can attack from a distance. Basically, you could be standing across a room and be attacking. When you're attacking with your sword, it summons like 4 different swords that like spectral swords that attack at the same time. So you're not being hit by just one sword. You're being hit by like 5 at once. And then you have I forgot. It's been a while. It's been like over a year since I've played 5.
He gets off of rip. He gets that amp, right? So he gets like that 10 times 20, whatever it is, like amp on top of everything he could already do, right? So if Wolverine was matching him at that point, now Wolverine just has to come up with some way to get 20 times stronger in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
You know, so there's that, right? But yeah, as he was saying, everything just gets
so much more
larger.
powerful.
Everything just gets more, right? Which is the whole argument of, Wolverine can handle 1v1s very, very nicely, right? He's proven it again and again. But when Wolverine gets hit with those 20, 30, when he gets hit with those numbers, he starts to slow down and he's like, all right, like, because it's just a lot. You know what I mean? And I think that the reason Dante ultimately wins is not the fact that like he's a better fighter, because I would say that like skill wise, Wolverine takes that, right? That's just my personal take. But just I think Wolverine takes skill. I think he may even take strength, like on a good day, right? But in terms of speed,
ability,
and ability, hacks, like actual power, right? Because there's a difference between powers and like strength, just muscle, right? Because like you look at the two, one's clearly much more physically strong than the other, right? But like just you have to take the fact that when you get into like this whole demonic energy thing, he's pulling energy from an endless realm in here. There's no bottom.
yeah.
Right? And it's like Wolverine could be super strong, but he's not bottomless.
Right.
True. Dante can get worn down as well, but not to the same scale. I would say, just from what I've seen, not to the same scale that Wolverine can. Like he will diminish much quicker compared to Dante.
So I forget exactly how long it was, but at the beginning of Devil May Cry 5, I don't think they said it in the game, but in the novels they did. He fought Urizen, which was the big demon, the big boss of the game, for I think a week straight.
Damn.
It was something like that.
Wow.
It was enough time for V to leave the area because he was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna need help." So he leaves the area. He goes to where Nero's at, and he's like, "Hey, Dante needs your help." They get back, and Dante is still fighting Urizen. So he's fighting him for like a week or something like that. And
You're right.
So
I didn't
you'd
even
you'd
consider
give
that.
Dante endurance as well.
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That'll be stamina,
I would
not
agree with
endurance.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Stamina.
stamina. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
You can't forget Wolverine is human, and Dante's half human, half demon. I mean, he's got that leg, which, yeah, you're right, absolutely.
I think that's.
So,
I also give Wolverine healing factor. I also give him durability, right? Because you cut him down, but he's gonna get back up. So I give him durability too. I don't know how smart either of them are, to be honest. Especially if he hits that berserker rage where he's just, So in terms of IQ, I would give it to Dante, not necessarily because he's this hyper intelligent person, but just because once Wolverine hits that point, he's not thinking anymore, which is kind of the point, right?
Mhm.
So like he just doesn't really have an IQ. He's not about thinking anymore. He's just going.
Right. Yeah, I think that. So Proto Man says Wolverine only wins if Dante doesn't go Devil Trigger. Dante is cocky, and if Wolverine takes off first, he can scrape him. Wolverine, if he can bleed, we can kill it.
No. You gotta say it right. You gotta say it right.
Go ahead. You do the honors. Go ahead.
Guns.
no, you go for it.
Oh my god.
I'm not even looking at the thing.
It can bleed.
The most three polite. The most three polite
that's what it sounds like.
people. Just
So-
no. You're good.
No, so if Dante can penetrate Wolverine's adamantium,
Oh. Penetrate.
I say Dante wins. But if he can't penetrate through the adamantium, he's gonna have to go through his whole weapon arsenal pretty quickly, and he's gonna have to step it up to Devil Trigger pretty fast, right? But even in Devil Trigger, Dante just like uses Rebellion or Sparta, right?
Or his new sword, Dante.
So it's still like,
but these are devil arms. Don't forget, they're not regular human weapons. They're devil arms.
but that's the question we don't know. Can Devil Arms penetrate adamantium?
I'm gonna say yes.
Because
Well, I
Uru's
don't-
like the only thing that can really cut it, right? Adamantium. The Uru
In the Marvel universe, the only things that could really cut was vibranium, right? So those are the two strongest metals. Is vibranium and adamantium, right? Those are basically they're like, I don't know if one's necessarily stronger than the other, because in what the heck, in Captain America versus Wolverine, he hits Cap's sword and it just scrapes it, but it does not penetrate it. In the movies, right? Like, but they don't penetrate ever. Like the two metals can't. They can hurt each other, but one's not about to just power the other one over.
Right.
Okay.
Which
Here's
kind of
about
leads me
even.
to a point where if Dante could even just meet the level and not necessarily exceed it, he can still do enough damage to break that. Because again, it's not he's covered in adamantium. He's not, just pure adamantium. They covered him.
Right.
So his bones are still in there. So if he can just pierce the layer, or you know what I'm trying to get at, like there's something to be said there. Where it's like I think the potential for him to break that is there. But I do like that comment that the guy said, because that kind of goes with like what we were getting at was how it starts. How that fight starts. If Wolverine just kind of like gets him.
Yeah.
But I just.
And that's why I was mainly asking, like, what does Sin Devil Trigger do? Because if he has some, like, weird skill I don't even know of that could potentially just destroy Wolverine instantly.
Sneezing?
basically.
Pause. Okay, now here's another point. So you brought up adamantium versus vibranium. Cap's shield is vibranium, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so, as far as we know, adamantium and vibranium, let's say they're pretty even. Thanos comes in, MCU, he going to town on the shield, and he's breaking it apart.
Right.
He gets it down halfway down, and that's not a human metal. Neither is
not.
neither
It
are the
is.
devil arms.
It's the same. I believe. Right. It is the same metal as Thor's hammer.
Okay, yeah.
That's
what
what I'm
it's
saying.
supposed to
Uru.
Because when they right, it's Uru, right, and it's because you remember they went to the dwarf planet,
Right.
and he said they just came here and I made his shit, right. So there's evidence where it's like, he gets his weapons of the same metal. That metal
no.
is.
But
Go ahead,
in
sorry.
Endgame, Endgame, he goes before he has the Infinity Gauntlet, and he has the sword. So he hadn't been to the dwarf planet yet.
Okay, so it's okay, so it's not. He didn't get it from him.
You're right.
Okay.
You're right.
But the thing is, that's the cinematic universe. What about the comic
That's
universe?
also true.
Has
Yeah.
that even
I mean,
happened?
obviously, the comic universe is stronger.
Yeah,
Yes,
for sure.
So I don't think anything's ever like broken, like the vibranium or adamantium, to my knowledge at least, in the comics. So it really depends which Wolverine we're talking about, the comics or cinematic universe.
Let's go
No, definitely.
comics because
Definitely.
cinematic would just get wrecked. He won't last. He won't outlast base Dante.
Oh,
Yeah,
Hugh
no.
Jackman.
No, you're right. You're right. Hugh Jackman, extra points. He'll outlast.
He wins
He'll
all
outlast.
time.
He's the goat.
With that being said, I think if it's a fight to the win, like Jay said, I'm gonna give it to Dante. If it's a fight to the death, I don't know that Wolverine can wear him down enough to kill him. Like I don't know that Wolverine can pull the kill.
It sounds well. Okay, before you, it sounds like you're winding down a little bit. You've already said, but let me ask you this.
Okay.
See if this will change anything. Okay, so I'm thinking like Castlevania, the whip is
Okay.
specifically meant to kill demons, right?
Right.
What about Dante's weapons? All his arsenal, are they specifically meant to attack demons? Because if they are more powerful against demons, that same strength is not going to apply towards Wolverine.
No. So, if I'm not mistaken, from what I understand, so say for example, Devil May Cry 1. You have regular swords, which are they're not regular swords. They're still devil arms,
Right.
But if you go into the demon world, the underworld, they get stronger. But they
Okay,
don't
so
get
it's-
they don't necessarily get weaker against anything else other than demons if you're in human world. You know what I mean? Like it's still a strong weapon.
No, yeah, it is, but I don't think it's ever been stated if it's specifically meant to kill demons or not. Not to my knowledge.
So in
That-
the Marvel
but
universe,
what will sorry. But what will have the higher durability? Dante's weapons or Wolverine's adamantium? Which will break first?
I'll
That's what I'm trying to
say that
question.
I'll say that Wolverine's adamantium claws will last longer than that. I would give him, right. Like I feel like, let's say Dante hypothetically just shredded him down, to the nothing left, right? You know what would be standing? His skeleton.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what would be standing. Like in a hypothetical, right? So like I don't think those are going anywhere. But in the Marvel universe, to my knowledge, right, when it comes to demonic weapons, I know that they work on anybody, right? But they have an extra ability to hurt like spiritual enemies.
Right.
So like there are certain characters in the Marvel universe that can only be hurt with a spiritual weapon. Right?
Okay.
So there's that. And that I would say, like, okay, like, if Wolverine fit into that category, that'd be another thing, but he doesn't. Like he's a mutant, yeah, but like at the end he's human. You know what I mean? Like So there's no. I don't think that it would just be ineffective, but I don't think it would give him any added bonus either. Right?
Okay.
I think it would just be, if I'm hitting my sword against your claws, I think that his claws beat his sword. Right? It may take a couple swings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I think ultimately, his weapons break first, but then he gets new weapons, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. I mean,
You know
Dante
what I
has
mean?
an arsenal, like literally.
Right.
So he's kept from so back when he was like bounty hunting, like before he had the shop, before he had like his official setup, he was already collecting devil arms, some that he got off screen, and he's kept every single devil arm to date, except for the couple that have broken against like other strong demons. Like for example, the Cerberus, the nunchucks,
Right.
the ice nunchucks. Those he broke against a fire demon that was supposed to be one of the king of demon world's right hand men. But Devil May Cry 5, he gets King Cerberus. So I mean, like it's not like it's he loses some, but he does gain some more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but Dante only carries what, like 4 or 5 max at one point. It's not like he's gonna have everything all at once. He's not gonna whip it out of his butt.
Right, right. But I mean,
Because ultimately, I feel if anything, it'll come down to Beowulf. If Dante goes through all his weapons, like his 5 that he has on his body.
he has Balrog now, which is stronger than Beowulf.
I don't know.
But wow, I would say arguably. But like what's to stop Dante from quickly splitting in a dimensional rift or something, going to his arsenal and picking out a couple new weapons?
like a pocket. He just
Yeah,
has
yeah,
space, Just
Like hammer
No,
space,
it's the
yeah.
truth, right? It's that whole no, but you see what I'm saying? It kind of, in a weird way, it kind of goes in a circle, right? Is because like we try to give because like I'm fair, right? So it's like I want to give Wolverine as much as I can, right?
Right.
But there's only so much he can do.
Right.
Versus Dante, he's like, bro, like I could just keep going. Like it doesn't matter. You break. I'm like, all right, wait a second, and he just gets something else. That's like, because that's just how they wrote his character. You know what I mean? It's like the same reason that Deadpool beats characters. It's not because he's initially strong. It's just because he just can. Like that's literally it. He just
So is Dante's dimensional power thing? Is that?
Yamato.
Oh, well, yeah, I know Yamato, but I don't know if he had another one. Is that a tear? And
Yes.
let's say like time and space, or is it like a portal?
It's a tear in the dimension in time and space kind of
So
thing.
who's to say he can pop open the hole and grab something and pull it out if it's just a tear?
Well,
Well, he can go through
because Virgil's used it to teleport from one area to another. It's a portal too. It's a portal.
So he has control over where it's going.
Yeah. Yeah.
But isn't that only like a certain like distance?
I don't think so because
I'm not
like
sure.
imagine like
I don't know.
he's not like Batman where like Virgil like cut a rift and walked through it and he's like hiding behind a branch of the Clifod root. He's not like, oh, I hope they don't see me so I can escape. Like he traveled from one area to a long distance area. Let's see, Proto Man.
So why didn't Virgil just use that when he was in the demon realm to get out?
He wanted to fight Mundus, and when he lost, he was chained up and tortured until basically he lost his humanity side and he was turned into a puppet basically. So he was cocky after his fight with Dante.
If anybody's gonna do that, it's him.
Yeah. Yeah, so after his fight with Dante, literally right after his fight with Dante, he's like, oh, I'm gonna go fight Mundus. And he lost. That's why he didn't use it to escape.
Let's see. Proto Man says only Yamato can penetrate Wolverine. I will stand on Yamato only weapon that can kill. Dante's weapons can't kill Wolverine. He can heal only Devil Trigger and Yamato kills. Okay. His guns won't kill. It's like Deadpool's guns can't kill him. Okay, yeah. I agree with that. His guns are just just gonna plop, 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 plop.
That's what I was saying. That Dante's gonna go through his whole arsenal
Mm-hmm.
before he can find anything.
Until he
can
gets
hurt
to that last one. Right.
Yeah.
No, but I agree with that.
Yeah.
No, I do. I agree with that. I think that's completely fair because that's. I'm telling you, it's eerily similar. It's obviously different, but it's kind of similar to like that whole Deadpool Wolverine debate, where
Right.
Deadpool will just light him up, and Wolverine's like, okay, it's not irrelevant, right?
Yeah.
But then, which is kind of weird. I mean, at least in my opinion, you'll have him swing at Deadpool, and he'll have a sword fight with him,
Mm-hmm.
like, and the swords are fine.
Okay.
It's just like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, if those swords are fine, which I don't know what they're made of. I mean, I don't know if he, in his spare time, but like, at least to my knowledge, I haven't seen him do anything special with that. I know he has the ability to, like, break the fourth wall and kind
Mhm.
of, have things go the way he wants.
Right.
But since I'm just comparing two different fights,
Right.
because they're in the same universe, right? So it's easier to make the comparison if they're, following the same rules versus, okay, we have to apply, this versus rules versus this versus rules,
Right.
So Deadpool versus Wolverine, none of his weapons are effective, but then yet his swords kind of clash against his claws,
Mhm.
right? And they do cut him and they do mess him up. I don't think Deadpool's
No.
ever going to win a fight against Wolverine, except, rewriting things and breaking the fourth wall, right? Like, but an actual just 1v1, I think Wolverine beats him. But
I
then,
think so.
it's like now if you say, okay, but now let's say Deadpool has the power to turn into a super mega ultra demon, and it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like right now you're just adding so many layers to a fight where neither of them were really gonna win because neither one had an edge per se, right? But now you're giving one of them the edge.
Yeah.
I think that's how I would put this fight. Is there's no real clear winner because it's like, okay, like his weapons can't hurt him, but he can't really hurt him, and there's a little back and forth. But then Dante does this one thing, and okay, it's like, yeah, now it's kind of
Okay. Yeah.
That's
I
how I
think
would,
I think that's a good way to put it. Honestly, I think that would probably be the best way to put it. And like I was saying earlier, BB, did not change my mind. My winner, at the end of the day, is going to be Dante.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't argue that. That's hard to. I think we kind of called it earlier. Wolverine taps out at probably that first Devil Trigger. Base form, he could probably take him. He can hang. Once he goes Devil Trigger, I think it's over. And forget it if he goes Sin.
Yeah.
It's just too much.
yeah.
I think Wolverine can take on Double Trigger, the first one, but you guys are saying Sin is way stronger, so I don't know from there. So let's put it like this: Wolverine versus Devil May Cry 1 Dante. Who wins?
Devil May Cry 1? He's
Devil May
already
Cry
seasoned.
He was.
I was gonna go through the games like individually.
Like, okay, which game does he get to before? That makes sense. Like, see, I see what you mean. Well, then you could really just. I'm gonna kind of re-say what he just said. Whatever game he hit that form in, that would be the game where.
So part 5.
All right.
So
Is
Wolverine
that 5?
So
Yeah. So technically 4.
I would say.
Because I feel Wolverine will win. Because on that one, all Dante really does with his Devil Trigger is just use Rebellion and like the gun still, basically, but they just have a power amp.
Yeah.
true. So I feel Wolverine wins that one because I still haven't questioned the durability of his weapons.
Well, okay, so keep in mind, Devil May Cry 1, he's seasoned and he takes on the king of the underworld, Mundus, and wins. He comes out on top. I think Devil May Cry 3, where he's younger, he's the 18-year-old, I think Wolverine can take that Dante. I'm a big fan of that one, probably my favorite entry in the series, but I think Dante loses that one.
Okay, but right there with what you said, that's one where he has Yamato
No,
at the end. No, on that was it the remastered version, wasn't it?
no,
Where he can
he
get the
doesn't get
sword?
it at all in 3.
No.
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 Okay, well, Dante beats Virgil, who has Yamato.
Yes.
which kind of just compliments Dante.
Yeah.
No,
but
but I'm
Because
saying,
it's saying
No.
minus the weapon, he still won. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of like
yeah,
but
but what
but
I'm
he
saying
beats
is
somebody with the weapon that has the power to tear. What was it? He
but
tears what?
they're unseasoned. He
well,
doesn't use it in that way.
weaponed in the right hands,
Yeah.
right? I mean, if I know how to use this weapon to its full extent and you don't, you know what I mean? There's a pretty high chance that let's say for some reason you have the edge, like I'm still gonna win because I just know how to use this weapon. Like I'll give you the weapon and you only okay, Ginyu takes Goku's body. Boom. Right?
I
Yeah.
was just thinking
Okay.
that. Exactly
Thank you.
that.
Yeah.
Right? Like and he's just like, why am I so weak? And he's
Yeah.
like, you just don't get it, Ginyu. You know what I mean? It's like because it's like you
Yeah.
have it, but like you can't use it all because you just don't know. That's exactly it. Ginyu Goku switch.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it too. But yeah, like I said, guns. They're 18 years old. They're unseasoned. Virgil still doesn't use the Yamato to his full potential. And it's just like I said, they're young. They're an older Dante takes Wolverine, I think, in any game, whether it's 1, 2, 4, or 5.
I think that's fair to say. I will add at the first game when he is a seasoned hunter, but it was the first time he learned to use the devil trigger. I think at that point Wolverine can still take him, just because he's so fresh to the ability of devil trigger.
No.
I would agree with that.
He gets devil trigger in 3, which is his youngest form.
Oh fuck!
Yeah.
Fuck, you're right. Well,
Yeah.
they retconned that. I guess that they
Yeah.
had to have, because I remember specifically it was the
'cause
first
that's
time he
what-
did it.
I feel it might just be a different type of double trigger because in part 3 he actually transforms into like a demon.
Yeah.
But
Each
in
he
part
does.
one,
He
it's
does.
just
No, he does.
electricity.
He goes like
each
he
weapon
looks like orange-ish, right? He's
Yeah.
like yeah.
Each
I know,
weapon
I know.
has its own form of devil trigger. Like for example, if he uses Cerberus, he doesn't have the wings on his back and he glows blue. If he uses Rebellion, he does have the wings and he has like horns. If he, like for example, Alistair, the one from part 1, he just glows blue until you use the attacks. He turns into like a black demon. If you use the Sparta and turn Devil Trigger, he turns into Sparta, into the image of his father.
Yeah, still same ability, same strength, just different.
Yeah,
look.
yeah,
So it doesn't really matter, I guess, the look of it.
yeah.
No, I guess that would fall under like strategy, right?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Because it's not so much that one of his forms, I guess, is stronger than the other. It's necessarily he's
Right.
using different tactics, right?
yeah,
So like that's why I would say he still hangs because like I do. I think that especially like a Berserker Wolverine, I think he still hangs at that point. I just think he just. But I think what ends up happening is Wolverine has the fight at first, and then he puts Dante in a position where he feels cornered, and then Dante's like, "All right, like, stop."
That's it.
And then he,
Game over.
Yeah.
that's what happens. Yeah. Like
I think you're
I think it would be one of those where it's like Wolverine's feeling good because he's about to, and Dante's just like, "All right, done." And I think we can,
yeah. All right, and so with that being said, guys, you as viewers, listeners, I think you should leave your comments down below. Let us know what you think. Who's gonna come out on top? To let us know why Dante wins.
or
What?
or why do you think perhaps Wolverine stands more of a chance than we give him credit for?
Okay, yeah, I guess.
Maybe I'm sure there's something we missed over.
Yep.
But anyways, this was fun. Just let us know. Thanks, guys.
All
made
right.
it through.
We'll see y'all later.
Deuces.
Later.